Okay, so now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to start this evidence organizer, okay? I'm going to do one with you, okay? And you're going to continue to work on this throughout the next few weeks. Now, when you turn distance learners, when you turn this in, if all of the boxes aren't complete, that's okay. But you have to have them all complete before you write your paper, okay? So, here's the evidence organizer. So, let's go over the directions. You will use this evidence organizer every day for the next few lessons to develop an explanatory essay. On this paper is where you will put all the information that will go in your future essay. So please put this in a place you will know where it is. Distance learners, download to your computer or save to your Google Drive. In-person learners, put in your binder or folder and bring it back to class every day. So here are the directions. Research and reread both texts, George versus George and Massacre on King Street, to find evidence of the British and the colonists' perspective related to the conflicts which led up to the American Revolution. Okay, what that means. From these two texts, George versus George and Massacre on King Street, you're going to reread both of those. You're going to find evidence about the British perspectives and the colonist perspective, that is about the events that led up to the American Revolution. So there are certain events that led up to the American Revolution: the Stamp Act, the Sugar Act, where the colonists wanted to go settle in the land that they had just won, but the British said no. The American Indians owned that, and then the colonists didn't think that was fair. So there are events that led up to the American Revolution, so we're finding evidence for that. So I'm going to find one with you today together. Now, I'm doing the first one with you. So when you log in on Google Classroom, this is the whole document that you're going to get. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes that you have to fill out, okay? They all don't have to be done right now, but you have to get them done before you write your paper, and I have to check them. Okay, so let's do this first one together. I have it here. So the question is, what were the two perspectives of the two main sides of the American Revolution? So I already have your sides done for you, British and colonists. So we're going to find something for both sides. In this first box, we're going to talk about what was the perspective, what was felt, thought, or believed, how something was seen. Okay, what happened as a result of these perspectives, the actions, decisions, or conflicts, and then here we're going to put our source, where we found the information. So, this box for today, I'm going to talk about a perspective about the British when they said that London thought it was fairest and safest to reserve these lands for the Native Americans. So, if we go back to lesson 1, it's on page 15. So let's look here in this last paragraph. Many colonists wanted to settle the new territory they had helped in this paragraph. Many colonists wanted to settle the new territory that had helped to win during the 7 Years' War, but Great Britain made it illegal. London thought it was fairest and safest to reserve these lands for the Native Americans who had always lived and hunted there. George Washington agreed with plenty of other colonial settlers who thought the law unfairly limited their rights. They poured into the West anyway. So, Great Britain made it illegal. London thought it was fairest and safest to reserve these lands for the Native Americans who had always lived and hunted there. That's the British perspective about them pouring into the West. About them, because remember, over here, if we zoom in here are the 13 colonies over here. There we are. There's the land that the 13 colonies just won, and the 13 colonies wanted to go over there and settle there, but Great Britain made it illegal. So, in this box over here, I'm going to put, scroll down, I'm going to put what Great Britain thought. So, I'm going to put that Great Britain made it illegal. I'll put a quote. London thought it was fairest and safest to reserve these lands for Native Americans. So that's a quote. I'm going to put quotation marks around it. So Great Britain said, you cannot settle here. So what happened as a result of these perspectives? This was their perspective that Great Britain thought, that this is what they thought. So this is what happened after they had thought this. So Great Britain made, I'm sorry, I spelled that wrong. Great Britain made a law that stated colonists could not settle in Native American territory. Territory. Okay, so that's what they did. So where did this information come from? So this came from George versus George, page 15. Okay, so there's that first one done. So now, what did the colonists think? So it says on this page, if we go back, that many colonists wanted to, let me change the color so you can see that better. Change it to orange. Many colonists wanted to settle the new territory they had helped to win during the 7 Years' War. That's what they wanted to do. That was their perspective. So, colonists wanted to settle in the territory they just won in the French and Indian War. Okay, and then how did George Washington, what was his perspective? This is a quote. George Washington agreed with plenty other colonial settlers who thought the law unfairly limited their rights. Okay, so this and this. This came, let me put the author's name. This came from S-C-H-A-N-Z. That's the author's name, page 15. And this is also from S-C-H-A-N-Z-E-R, page 15. So, got to make sure we cite. That's part of your grade 2. You're going to have to cite things. So, what did they do? What happens as a result? What did they do? What were the decisions, the actions that they took? It says that the colonists poured into the west. Anyway, they said, we're going to settle there. We don't care. And then the colonists, they ignored the British laws they didn't like. So that is on page 15. Let me go back. This is from S-C-H-A-N-Z-E-R, 15. That's not right. I'm sorry. Let me erase this. And now, oops, we have 15. Okay. Now this is from George versus George. All right. So there's that first one done. Okay. So you might want to work ahead and go to and finish it up. Whatever you need to do is fine. But this all has to be done before we write our essay next week. Okay. Make sure you're giving text evidence. And make sure that you're writing complete sentences. And if you quote, make sure you cite and put the author name and the page number, and tell me where you got the information in your in the last column. Okay, let me know if you need anything.